Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Burn, Nick, and today, today, let me tell you, I've been doing really good on the losing weight front, okay? Been doing really good. And, I've been working hard. Working very hard. In fact, as of the recording of this episode here, let's do a little quick and dirty math just to see, where we are. And I am right at 75 pounds down. So, as a way to celebrate that, and also to celebrate the day, it's National Pie Day. Now, some of you might be thinking, no, that's in March. That would be National Pie Day. So that would be the mathematical pie. That would be March 14th. No. Today is Pie Day, the dessert. And apparently, from all of my research, I was able to determine that January 23rd was declared Pie Day because 1/23 looks like a fraction, and so it was kind of mathematical looking, and so they still tied it to the pie diameter, blah, 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 or mathematical thing. But they wanted an excuse for dessert. But I'll get to all that in a little bit. First, I'm going to get my cigar going, and then we're talking quite a bit about pie, and I may or may not have some pie here for me. So if you're triggered by eating, this is going to be a sucky episode for you. Anyway, so today I will be smoking another good cigar, because that's been my other thing for 2026 is, if I'm going to smoke cigars, I want to make sure they're good cigars. So today I will be smoking the Villiger 1888 Gran Reserva. It's a 6x54 Toro, or box press Toro, featuring a Mexican San Andreas wrapper, Ecuadorian Habano binder, and Nicaraguan filler. And I like this cigar, and I'm looking forward to firing this guy up and getting into all things pie. So, it's time to cut the cigar, and the official cutting is brought to you by 2guyscigars.com. That's the number 2guyscigars.com. Two Guys have been around for 40 years, and they are the trusted name in the cigar industry. Everybody knows Two Guys, but if you don't, please give them a try. You won't be sorry. Family owned and operated, 2guyscigars.com does the very best to provide a great selection, fair prices, and excellent customer service. So head on over to 2guyscigars.com for your next cigar purchase. Tell them the Cigar Pulpit sent you. And remember, that's the number 2guyscigars.com. And with that, it's time to go ahead and cut the cigar. But this is one of those days, one of those rare days, that Dave is jealous that my episodes come out on Fridays, and I can celebrate National Pie Day. But he comes out on a Saturday, and he's going to miss it by a day. Not that that really stops him from having pie if he wishes. Truthfully, he could. But, it's a day late, $1 short. I'm on the day. I got the pie. Anyway. Nice little cocoa-y component to the cold draw on the 1888 Gran Reserva there. That's nice. So, all right. Well, while we get this guy lit, why don't you guys listen to the greatest commercial that you've ever heard?
Some say cigars are all the same. It's just not true. It's you I have to blame.
Well, I don't know, 'cause what I know, there is a cigar called Aladino. Corojo.
Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. They say authentic, so we're not confused. use, while the others say it's a word that's just abused.
I guess that's so. They can't compete. At least I'm sure Aladino can't be beat.
Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Cigars uses authentic Corojo tobacco from JRE Tobacco. This is the greatest commercial you ever heard. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we have our cigar going, and let's talk about pie. Let's talk pie. So first things first, National Pie Day was popularized in the mid-1970s by pie enthusiasts and later embraced by bakeries, math lovers, and food brands. It never became an official federal holiday. It's on that national holiday list. There's a website you can go to, and hang on, let me bring it up here real quick. It's actually a fun website. And if you're a teacher or anything like that, this is a great thing for you to check out. It's nationaldaycalendar.com. And basically you go here and you can see every single day, and you can see what that national day is. You can see what that day is. And today, January 23rd, happens to be National Pie Day. What else is today though? Let's just for shiggles look and see what else today happens to be. That way, I can let you guys know. So, aside from being National Pie Day, today is also National Handwriting Day and National Security Technician Day. It was founded by the Security International Association. I don't know, whatever. It's National Pie Day. That's the big one. So yeah, but basically, you know, it never became a federal holiday, but it spread because it's harmless. It involves pie, and math teachers like the excuse because it was another opportunity for them to talk about math. So let's get into some historical facts and interesting, you know, bits of information about pie. Did you know that pie is older than plates? The earliest pies trace back to ancient Egypt, where ground grains were mixed with honey and baked into crude pastry forms. These weren't dessert pies, they were portable food containers. That's one thing that I learned in quite a bit of my research here. And, you know, if it doesn't come up, we'll talk about I think it's literally the next thing. The crust originally was the point, not the filling. Early pies used thick, rock-hard crusts called coffins, from the word coffre, meaning box. The crust wasn't meant to be eaten. It was cookware, storage, and packaging all in one. So basically, they took what they wanted to save, put it in the crust, and made this crust really, really thick and rock hard. And that's what preserved what was inside the pie. Romans took the pies global. The Roman Empire spread pie across Europe. Roman pies often contained meats, shellfish, honey, and spices, sometimes all in the same pie, which is kind of gross. Early American pies were mostly savory. When settlers arrived in North America, sugar was scarce. Early American pies were packed with meat, root vegetables, and fish. Sweet pies didn't really take over until sugar became affordable. The term as American as apple pie. It's all marketing, as with all things. I mean, diamonds. Guys, if you've never looked into why we give diamonds as an engagement ring or a wedding ring or something like that, yeah, look into it. It's all a giant scam from De Beers. But anyway, as American as apple pie. Apple pie existed in Europe centuries before America. The phrase became popular during World War II when soldiers said they were fighting for mom and apple pie. Patriotic branding did the rest. So that's what it is. The first pumpkin pies had no crust. Early pumpkin pies in quotes, were pumpkins hollowed out, filled with milk, honey, and spices, then baked whole. Basically, it's just like gutting a pumpkin, pouring some shit in and baking it and just eating it out of that. So, I mean, whatever. Pie was also a political symbol. In the 19th century, pie symbolized self-sufficiency and domestic pride. A good pie was proof of good moral character. If your pie was bad, people quietly judged your entire household. And finally, the world's largest pie weighed over 20,000 pounds. It was made in England, and it was filled with beef, potatoes, mushrooms, and gravy. So it was a giant pot pie. So there you go. Now, here's where we're getting into the fun. This is where, I'm going to turn down this heater because my elbow is starting to bake like a pie. This is where we're going to pair cigars with various kinds of pie. I made a list. It's not comprehensive. Maybe your favorite pie is not on the list. Quite a few pies on the list, but maybe your favorite one isn't. And for that, I'm sorry. But we have some types of pie. And we are going to start with that quintessential American treat. The one that I just talked about was all marketing, but I don't care. Apple pie. Yes, apple pie. This is a little baby apple pie that I have for myself. I'm going to eat some of it. I'm not going to eat all of it, but I am going to eat some of it because it's pie day and I'm allowed to eat. And if, it's going to be what it is. Now, for those of you who are like, but Nick, you've lost this weight, blah, blah, blah. I would like to point out that it is a no sugar added apple pie. So, it's the best I could do. I'm treating myself here today. So apple pie, let's be real, guys. If you haven't had an apple pie, first of all, you're living under a rock. But second of all, if you haven't had an apple pie, you're looking at a flavor of some sweetness, typically with some cinnamon flavor to it. And that pie, it would pair well with cigars that contain flavor notes of exactly that. Cinnamon, brown sugar, molasses, vanilla cream, nutmeg or baking spice. And admittedly, I did get some help from ChatGPT on this one. They recommend also that cigars that have kind of a cedary kind of component or a sweet cedar component would also pair well with apple pie. So, all right, it's enough pie. I'm not going to eat the whole time, guys. I'm just going to do it just enough to piss off a few people because some of you guys get really triggered when I eat. And I'm amused by that. I do a lot of this for my own amusement. I mean, this isn't, look, I love you guys as my audience, but I got to have fun doing this too. So what pairs well with an apple pie? The Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua balances brown sugar, cinnamon sweetness, and smooth cream. The Arturo Fuente Hemingway Classic balances a creamy cedar component with a mild sweet spice that would be great after a slice of apple pie. And finally, there's the Romeo y Julieta Reserva Real, which offers sweet spices or soft spices, toast, subtle sweetness. And it's great with a more mild pie. Not so much the really tart, like, Granny Smith kind of, whatever, but a nice mild apple pie. Now, I will say, ChatGPT recommended a number of cigars. I went through and picked out ones that I was familiar with and ones that I agreed with. I would also say that ChatGPT really, really loves the Romeo y Julieta Reserva Real because there were like a ton of pies that it recommended that cigar for. I chose to pair it with the apple pie. However, the Romeo y Julieta Reserva Real apparently will pair with many, many pies. I don't know. But we'll go with that. So that's apple pie. Now, moving on. The next, in my opinion, most plentiful pie, the one that I feel like probably is eaten only second behind the apple pie the most frequently in this country, would be pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie offering up a smooth, creamy, custardy kind of texture, along with flavor notes of baking spice and nutmeg. So you're looking for cigars that offer up cinnamon and baking spice, brown sugar molasses, vanilla creamy notes, nutmeg and clove, sweet cedar and toast. It's kind of the general, cigar flavor notes that you're going to want in order to do this. Now, in this case, it's interesting because ChatGPT gave me, a whole bunch of options. One of them I thought was very interesting because it's almost contrasting the pumpkin pie. And this is the first one. It's the Padron 1964 Anniversary Maduro, which has deep cocoa and coffee sweetness, but with subtle baking spice undertones. So you get that baking spice in there, but then it also offers some chocolate. And that chocolate and the pumpkin kind of like balance out and like are not typically paired together. But in this case, it does have the baking spice kind of tie between the two. And I could see that if you get more coffee off of that cigar than cocoa, I could see that pairing well, because having a nice cup of coffee along with your pie, that's a nice time. So I could see that being a good pairing. Next up was the Rocky Patel Vintage 1999 Connecticut. It's a mild, creamy, subtle cigar that would pair well really with most anything, but definitely with the pumpkin pie, given the baking spices, nutmeg, clovey kind of components to it. Finally, there was the Aganorsa Leaf Signature Series, which offers subtle sweetness and spice. So you get that sweetness, you get that little bit of spice to it, and it will pair well with a nice helping of pumpkin pie. Now, we also talked about pumpkin pie leading up to Thanksgiving. Mike Brinker and I did an episode where we paired cigars with Thanksgiving food. So there may be some other suggestions in that episode if those three don't really tickle your fancy. Moving on, we have chocolate pie, one of my personal favorites. Obviously offering flavor notes of cocoa, typically in a custard or pudding type format, so you get that kind of creamy sweetness as well. I'm not a meringue guy. I don't know about you guys. I'm not a meringue guy. I'm not one of those guys. I don't want like the mile high pie that's like nothing but fluff, I'm not the biggest meringue fan, so I would not go. If I have my choice between chocolate meringue or just a chocolate pie, I'm going to go with just the chocolate pie. I don't need the shit on it. So I didn't include meringue in the description, so it's not pairing cigars with that light, fluffy meringue kind of component. So with this pie, you're going to be looking for cigars that offer up dark chocolate, cocoa, or mocha flavor notes, espresso, coffee roast, brown sugar, molasses, caramel, cream, vanilla, sweet cedar. Those kind of components will go well with a chocolate pie. So, looking at that, we've got the La Flor Dominicana Double Maduro, which has a very dark chocolate and earthy sweetness. There's also the Brick House Maduro, again, smooth chocolate, earth with subtle spice. So you get, a little bit of flavor complexity there. And then finally, one that was one, I added this one to the list. They didn't have this one, and I was like, how do you not have this one? And then I asked ChatGPT, and they were like, that's actually a really good suggestion, Nick. And I'm like, yeah, because I know a few things too. The Perdomo Reserve 10th Anniversary Maduro with its chocolate, mocha, and espresso kind of components would be a wonderful pairing with a chocolate pie. Now, we have another pie. I've set aside the apple pie. At some point, probably, I don't know, today. I mean, I've got the box. I can save it, but whatever. But we have another pie. And now, pie number 2. So the next time I'm triggering you guys with my eating. Pie number 2. We have probably, oh man, if chocolate pie is like one of my favorite pies, this is favorite, alternate. This is like 1A and 1B. I mean, it's literally like, it is what it's tied. My next favorite pie, we have pecan pie. That's right. I have a little baby pecan pie here. This pie is obviously nutty and sweet, kind of sticky. You get that stickiness to it. You're looking for cigars that have flavor notes of caramel and molasses, honey, brown sugar, toasted nuts, almond, cedar, vanilla, cream, and warm spice, cinnamon and nutmeg. Now, let's try this pie. Oh my gosh. I did not consider that I probably need a knife or something like that to like cut this. This is surprisingly very dense for a little baby store-bought pie. Oh, there we go. So we got the pumpkin or pecan-y goodness there. I like the goo. The pecan pie goo. It's good. And Caro syrup. Anyway. So, not my favorite pecan pie I've ever had, but given the fact that I haven't had pecan pie, I mean, I didn't have any at Thanksgiving this year, so I mean, it's been well over a year since I've had pecan pie. So, what cigars will pair nicely with pecan pie? Shouldn't bad. First up would be the Villiger La Capitana. It's got a sweet cedar and soft nut flavor component to the flavor. Oh, good. Ugh. My hubris caught up to me. The universe just kicked me in the ass and laughed. Sorry. All right, I'm done with the pie. That's that was the universe telling me that I'm being an asshole. Oh my god. Sorry, I had a nice dry chunk of crust go down the windpipe there. That was definitely, like I said, that was God and the universe telling me quit dicking around and do the show. So anyway, all right. Villiger La Capitana. Sweet cedar, soft nut flavors would pair wonderfully with the pecan pie and a nice cup of coffee. The Christoph Maduro, brown sugar and nutmeg vibes. That would pair nicely with that. I would also say that would probably pair nicely with the pecan pie or pumpkin pie. But the Christoph Maduro, I think would hold up really nicely with the pecan pie. Finally, here's one. Here's a bit of a wild card for you. And one that I'm sure there's a lovely lady in Florida screaming at her radio right now, trying to figure out why I haven't brought this one up for this pie yet, because when I was talking to her about this show idea, she asked about her favorite cigar, and I said flat out, I think pecan pie would be the best choice for that one. And I was right. But the Tobacco Especial Dulce, with its rich caramel and brown sugar notes. So obviously, you'd have to be looking for a flavored infused cigar if you wanted to do that. But the Tobacco Especial Dulce would pair very nicely with the pecan pie. Be a lot of sweet. I'll say that much. A lot of sweet, but that's okay. That's okay. Now, next. Technically, I have one, but after the last experience, I'm not going to do it. I have a cherry pie. This cherry pie, This offers up a bit of a challenge for pairing cigars because it's got that fruit component, sometimes tart, sweet, can balance either way. But the fruit, specifically the cherry, it does bring up kind of an acidic component. And you have to, it has like a bright acidity. It also has that sweetness. Cherry pie also has almond and vanilla notes from the crust or extract. So with a cigar, the traits you want to nail are cocoa or mocha, because those kind of balance out. Dark fruit or raisin sweetness, again, kind of matches the cigar, but whatever. Creamy texture, and a sweet cedar or brown sugar. All of this would complement a cherry pie well. Now, what you're going to want to avoid, though, and it's important because of the kind of acidity and the tartness of the cherry, you want to avoid like a very peppery cigar. You want to avoid something with a sharp pepper. You want to also avoid something that's got a very dry and aggressive spice component to it, because that's not gonna match well with the cherry pie. You also want to avoid ultralight grassy cigars because they're just going to get washed out. You're not going to taste the cigars at all. It's just not going to balance well with the pie, and ultimately the pie is just going to rule the day. So, looking at all of that, the first one up would be the Aging Room Cuatro Maduro. It has flavor notes of brown sugar and cocoa that smooth out the acidity of the cherry pie well. From there, you have the Perdomo Reserve 10th Anniversary Maduro. Molasses, cocoa, dark sweetness. It just goes with it. Finally, here's if you're feeling a little bougie, a little fancy, you want to spend a little money, you have the La Flor Dominicana Andalusian Bull with its sweet spice and dark fruit depth. So you get the Andalusian Bull and some cherry pie, and you got yourself a party. Finally, we get to the we have two more pies, but this is the last of the fruit pies. I wanted to mix it up. I wanted to give it a challenge. And I inquired about lemon pie. I like a good lemon pie. I like the sweetness, and I like the tartness. I like it's typically lemon desserts are very clean. My stepmom makes those lemon bars that are just amazing. I like lemon desserts. So again, sweet, citrus, perhaps a little tart, very clean on the palate. So lemon pie brings high acidity, bright citrus, sugar, and cream. So the cigar traits you're looking for with a lemon pie, you're looking for a creamy texture, vanilla, honey sweetness, soft cedar or almond, and a very clean finish. You want to avoid pepper bombs. You want to avoid heavy Maduro bitterness. You want to avoid like a dry tannic cigar. And you want to avoid aggressive earth or char. So, looking at some of the options, there were three, again, that I thoroughly agreed with. Actually, two, and then I added a third one. The Monte Cristo White Series, creamy cedar with mild sweetness. My first cigar, in fact. Amazing choice. Amazing choice. That would pair wonderfully with a lemon pie. And it would not, the lemon pie would not overpower it. It would not overpower the pie. It would go wonderfully together. Davidoff Signature Series, refined cream and light spice. Most Davidoffs tend to be too light for my palate and flavor preference. But with a lemon pie, I think it could pop. It could work. And I think that, once again, you don't have as... I think my average cigar that I personally enjoy and smoke would be too much for a lemon pie. So I think in this case, you got to bring it down. Finally, the one I added was the Villiger Cuellar Creme, or Crema, and it has a soft sweetness and cream. And I think that that would be a very subtle, light, good cigar from Villiger that would complement a lemon pie nicely. Finally, the wild card, the pie you were not expecting. And that would be pot pie. Savory, buttery, herbal, whatever. Peppery and rich. Now, with this, it matters more what doesn't work with a pot pie than what does. Pot pies will take on most cigars. But what doesn't work really doesn't work. So with a pot pie, you want to avoid sweetener infused cigars. You probably don't want to go like really heavy pepper bombs because while pot pies sometimes have some pepper component to it, they tend to be very creamy. That gravy and that goo in there and everything, it's got some pepper to it, but it's not like a pepper bomb. So you don't want the cigar to overpower. Super dry woody cigar, you want a creamy cigar to go along with that creamy pot pie. You don't want anything that you would pair normally with chocolate or bourbon. They're just not going to pair well with a pot pie. So, what would I say that would pair well with a pot pie? Well, looking over the options that were presented to me, I agreed thoroughly with the Perdomo Champagne 10th Anniversary with its creaminess and its breadiness and that sort of thing. There is some pepper to it. But not as much as maybe some of the other ones. So, like, again, it has that kind of pot pie kind of flavor component to it. The Arturo Fuente 858 Natural. I have said on the show that I am not a big Fuente smoker, and I'm not. But I do know the 858. I enjoy the 858. That's actually one of the few Fuentes that when I go into the humidor, thanks to the little writing on the cellophane, I can pick out the 858. And I enjoy that one. And that one's got flavor notes of cedar, bread, and it has a nice clean finish, which would pair well with the pot pie. Finally, we have the Charter Oak Habano. Oak, toast, light spice would go wonderfully with a pot pie. So there you go, guys. We got all the different pies. We got all kinds of different options there. Bottom line is, if there's an excuse to have pie and to have a cigar, I think we ought to take it. And I think that means that you need to celebrate the day, celebrate the pie day, and have some pie and a cigar. I think that would be a wonderful way for you to spend your day. So I give you permission, have pie and a cigar today. All right, well, let's move on now. It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by
Villiger.
Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family-owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. I am thoroughly enjoying this 1888 Grand Reserva. It is smoking wonderfully. The draw on it's been great. Smoke production's been good. It's pairing nicely with the remnant of pecan pie that's on my palate. That's been a nice little touch. Is that I would say that this pairs nicely with that. So you got that going on. It's nice when because I couldn't pick a cigar that pairs with all three. I mean, cherry, apple, and pecan. Granted, I haven't gotten the cherry because, quite frankly, I almost choked and died on the pecan, so I'm not going to do that. That's a little exaggeration, but whatever. Anyway, all right. So, getting into the Villiger segment. What have I been watching lately? I have continued on with the Killers in the Code, or Killer in the Code podcast. Highly recommend that. Highly recommend that. I also have read a book. I've read a book. So I'm already getting ahead on my 2026 book reading resolution. So I have crossed one off the list. My resolution was to read 12 this year. I have read one. Granted, it was only 67 pages, but truthfully, if you guys get this book and you read it, you will realize it was an extraordinarily dense 67 pages. Like, it actually did take me time to get through 67 pages. I could not, like, under normal circumstances, I was like, I'll sit down and just bang through this thing. Just one shot, you know? No, this is not a book that you just bang through in one shot. Maybe the first time, but you're going to go back and you're going to have to reread it. It's called On Bullshit. And who is the author here? Let me look it up so I can give you the author. I ordered it off of Amazon, and it came as a just little baby book. Little baby book. And it's by Harry Frankfurt, Harry G. Frankfurt. It's called On Bullshit, Harry G. Frankfurt. You can literally get a hardcover. They have some used ones on Amazon for like $5.50. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, it's worth it. But it's On Bullshit. And basically, this was this guy's like thesis where he wrote all about the meaning and everything behind the word bullshit. Because we call things bullshit all the time. It's like, well, that's bullshit. This is bullshit. But this guy was like, what does bullshit mean? And he caught my attention right off the bat by comparing it to another educational paper where a gentleman goes into the deeper meaning and the background of the word humbug. And so he's trying to compare bullshit to humbug, and then doesn't quite, he's like, it fits in some cases, but it doesn't quite in others, and so we have to extrapolate it out further. And he just goes down this rabbit hole about the meaning of the word bullshit. And it's funny. It's enlightening, you know? And what I think is fun is that it kind of like dives into kind of like thinking about our language a little bit, you know? It's like we say things and I don't think we know. I mean, for God's sakes, we got these kids out there saying, what the hell is cap and no cap? And like, what the hell, the 6'7" and what and those are all old references. I know that right off the bat, because if I know them, then they're obviously old, but I don't know what the meanings of this is. I don't know what the genesis of these words are. I don't know any of this. It's fucking weird. And so we just have this thing in our culture where we just make words and things just take off. And it's interesting that somebody took the time to sit down and say, what is the actual meaning of bullshit? So there, On Bullshit. That's a book recommendation. All right, now we'll get to another round of our Desert Island entertainment suggestions here. You know, I've been doing this where I talk about different books, movies, music, things of that nature that I would like to have if I were stranded on a desert island to pass the time. So movie-wise, I'm technically cheating here a little bit. I'm combining two movies, but in all fairness, those two movies you could very easily make into one super long epic movie, and I think everybody that's seen them and likes them would agree with that. And that would be Godfather Parts 1 and 2. They go together so seamlessly. They're really good movies, and unlike the third one, they're both very, very good. I would say that those two movies go together well and tell one epic, long, sprawling story. So, I love gangster stuff. You know, I'm partial to it, and The Godfather, it's got so many really good parts, so many good lines, so many good. It's just such a really, it's just a well done, well put together movie with very, very few flaws, if any. And Godfather Parts 1 and 2, I would say would be my movie pick this time. Book-wise, there is a book called The Alienist by Caleb Carr. and it's set late 1800s, early 1900s. It's like, well, here, let me look it up. I probably should have done that. I listed it, but I didn't actually look it up here. But anyway, so okay, here it is. You can get it on Amazon for just under $11 for a paperback. It's actually on sale. First published in 1994. The year is 1896. The city is New York. Newspaper reporter John Schuler Moore is summoned by his friend Dr. Laszlo Kritzler, who is a psychologist or alienist, to view the horribly mutilated body of an adolescent boy abandoned by the unfinished Williamsburg Bridge. From there, the two embark on a revolutionary effort in criminology, creating a psychological profile of the perpetrator based off the details of the crime. So it's kind of an interesting, it's fiction, but it infuses a lot of historical detail into the fiction. At the turn of the century, New York. And it's, you got like a serial killer, you got this psychologist who's going around making this profile of the killer and everything like that, and it just goes from there. There was a sequel to it. Let's bring that up here real quick. The sequel to it was called The Angel of Darkness. Also very good book. But yeah, wait a minute. Is there a third one? No, this is not a third one. This is okay. I'm sorry. I was like really excited there for a moment. I'm like, did I just discover a third one from the guy? But anyway, it's another one from the author, but no. But yeah, The Alienist, super good book, super good read. I think they turned it into either a movie or a TV show at some point. I haven't watched it, but I would recommend the book. So, The Alienist by Caleb Carr, good book. Finally, music. And I'm going to maybe get a little weird, but I don't care because it's one of my favorite albums of all time. And it would be Flood by They Might Be Giants. I love They Might Be Giants. And Flood is probably, in my opinion, their magnum opus. Flood contains such wonderful hits as Istanbul, not Constantinople, Particle Man, Birdhouse in Your Soul, Minimum Wage, a very, very funny song. Very brief, but very funny. It's got all kinds of great music on it. And it's not your typical thing. It's going to be a little different. But trust me, it's enjoyable. I love it. I highly recommend it. Again, this is another album that I have on vinyl, CD, and I have the whole thing in my, I bought the whole thing in my iTunes. So I have a digital version of it as well. So I have this 3 different ways. Flood is an amazing, amazing album. In fact, I actually went and saw They Might Be Giants. Oh God, when would this have been? 2018? They came to St. Louis and played at the pageant. And I went and saw They Might Be Giants there. And it was a great show. Great show. They've done a lot of music. They've done a lot of kids music. Flood is not a kids album. It's not like it's like vulgar or anything like that, but it's not a kids album. They have a number of albums that are aimed for adults, but then they also have some albums that are aimed for kids. Most famously, they performed the Hot Dog song on Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, which for those of you who have kids anywhere close to my son's age, or maybe a little bit older, but not too terribly much older, you are familiar with hot dog, hot diggity dog. And you go from there. But yeah, super good album. Highly recommend it. Flood by They Might Be Giants. Yeah. So Godfather Parts 1 and 2, The Alienist by Caleb Carr, and Flood by They Might Be Giants. That would be my Villiger Desert Island Entertainment for this episode. Alrighty, well, it is Friday, and that means it is time for another Pinky Fun Fact.
Hey, it's your girl Pinky. Ready for a fun fact? Your feet sweat approximately 23 gallons of fluid every year. This has been Pinky, and I'll be back next time with more fun facts.
Man, that's kind of grody. My kid's feet sweat a ton. I have to make sure he's in socks all the time when he's in shoes, because otherwise his shoes will absolutely reek. That kid will never, ever be able to just like slip on a pair of loafers and go for a walk. His feet sweat like crazy, and they just get so stinky. Little kid with stinky feet. So bizarre. Alrighty, guys. Well, it's that time. We are at the socials. I am available on Instagram at the Cigar Pulpit. I am on Facebook, where we have the Pulpit Parishioners group. You can get in on the fun there and share what you're smoking and enjoy the camaraderie. We're on Twitter/X, where I don't really do much. We're on Rumble and YouTube. If you wish to watch this, you can watch me choke on a piece of pie. And I do need your calls for Ask the Pulpit. You can give me a call on the hotline at area code 863-874-0000. That's 863-874-0000. What kind of pie do you guys like? What's your favorite pie? And if you were going to pair a cigar with that pie, what would you pair and why? Don't just tell me, oh, this is my favorite pie, this is my favorite cigar, I'm going to pair them. Truly think about it. What cigar would pair well with your favorite pie? And in turn, what pie would pair well with your favorite cigar? Because it may not be the same. So give me a call on the hotline. Area code 863-874-0000. And for those of you who wish to get it, sign up for my newsletter. You can go over to cigarpulpit.com, and you can, the little pop-up box comes up, enter in your email address, and you will be added to the list to receive that as well. Coming up on the show, we have an episode on the 27th. That one, it's a little up the air. But then on the 30th, coming up a week from today, that episode will feature the Parishioners Cigar of the Year. I have been working to coordinate with the manufacturer who has won, and we are working out schedules to make sure that we can get the interview scheduled out and taken care of, so that they can come on and they can thank you all, for the honor and discuss kind of what all went into that cigar. But no, you guys chose, and first place was definitely not even close. All the rest were super tight, but first place was not even close. Yeah. So no, we're working on that, and we will be announcing that on Friday, January 30th. So there we go. We got that going on. Final thoughts on the 1888 Grand Reserva. Fantastic cigar. They aged this an extra year after it was rolled. They rolled it. They finished it. It was all ready to go. And then they stuck it away and aged it for a whole nother year. And that extra aging, I haven't smoked one without it, so maybe it only added a little bit, but I think it had to have had something to it. It smokes wonderfully. Construction is great. My burn line is like razor tight on it. The ash holds really, really well. The draw on it has been amazing. Flavor, it's there, it's present, it's not overpowering. It's got some body to it. I dig the hell out of it. I think this is a wonderful cigar. It's one of Villiger, one of their kind of top cigars for North America. I have no problem with that. I think it's worthy of that. So if you guys are looking for something good to smoke, maybe a celebratory cigar to give a try to, maybe you're a Padron smoker that wants to try something similar-ish without breaking the bank, because let's be real, I could put this up against some of the anniversary Padrones that cost a little more than this one does, and I would be perfectly happy with this. And it's familiar because it's got that little box pressy thing going on, so you guys won't feel like it's weird. Yeah, I would definitely, I'd put this up against some higher end Padrones. Why not? Anyway, fantastic cigar. Well, guys, thank you so much for indulging my journey through pie. I hope you, I tried not to I didn't get all like up on the microphone with the chewing and be all like, that kind of annoying shit. Not like I used to do on the Smoking Butts and Tappin' Ash Barbecue podcast when I'd go on with those guys. I made it a point to be an asshole on there and just, right up on the microphone chewing and slopping and everything like that. Cause I thought it was amusing. Again, I find it funny. But thank you so much for indulging me on my pie journey. Celebrate Pie Day today. Go out, have some pie, have a cigar with your pie. I think it would be a wonderful thing to do. And, if nothing else, if you miss it today, then there's always March the 14th, which technically, like I said, is the mathematical one, but we can still say that it's Pie Day, the sequel. So there you go. All right, guys, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpits. I'm Nick. Thank you so much. Take care. Stay safe. Stay smoking. I forgot my outro there for a moment. I was like, take care. No, that's not right. No. Oh, stay safe and stay smoking. Fuck, I forgot. All right. Getting old. Later, guys.